I love, I was just telling the brothers earlier today how I love the scriptures. How I love the scriptures because there's nothing that I can encounter in life that I can't find the answer in the Word of God. That I can't find consolation in the Word of God. God's Word is true. God's Word is true. God's Word, regardless of what you might think, because you want to say it was written by man, when I understand that man was just the ink pen. But the words, they are of God. And I know that because the words have life. And life is only found in Jesus the Christ. I want you to turn with me to the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 13. 2 Corinthians 13 and verse 5. Second Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. I want to read this text, say a few words, and I'm going to get out your way because I want you to come back at 5 o'clock. In case you forgot. Second Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves how that Jesus Christ is in you, except ye be reprobate, except you fail the test. Beloved, proof is in the pudding. Proof is in the pudding. Paul, in writing verse 5, was given an answer to verse 3. He was given an answer to verse 3. Because in verse 3, Paul was a pastor. Paul was a pastor. And Paul, who was the father of the Corinthians, Paul was very concerned about the impact he was having on the lives of the people. And the thing is in verse 3, for whatever reason, the Corinthian church constantly questioned the authenticity of Paul's apostleship. They questioned him because their claim was, you did not sit where Jesus sat. You didn't break bread with him. You didn't walk with him. You wasn't there like Peter, James, and John, Philip. Matthew and the rest. You wasn't there with them, so they questioned the authority of his apostleship. And so Paul tells them in verse 3, since ye seek proof of Christ, speaking in me, which towards you is not weak, but is mighty in you. First thing is what Paul was trying to tell them in his great care for them was that they need to know that what they're questioning is not him. What they're questioning is not him, but what they're questioning is God himself. Just like when the people of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron, they weren't murmuring against Moses. Yeah. They were speaking against God. Yeah. The thing about pastors and preachers is a pastor ought to be concerned about the lives of the sheep. Pastor ought to be concerned. And out of his concern, he can't help but look for signs of maturation. Help me, Holy Spirit. He can't help but look for signs of maturation among the body. Because no matter what, man wants to see the fruit in that which he labors. So Paul turned the question back around on them. He said, while you're questioning me, you can find the answer in your own lives. He said, because you're sitting under my teaching. If you have come to the faith and knowledge and understanding of who Jesus Christ is for yourself, you have come from up under my teaching, and that should be proof that I come under the right authority. So Paul gets to verse 5, and he says, examine yourselves. Beloved, each one of us is in need of self-examination. Each one of us is in need of a self-examination. I want you to identify in the text, for one, observe that one thing that he is saying is that you can and you should know whether or not you are saved. Beloved, it's a sad thing for someone to call themselves a Christian and is still left with some level of uncertainty of whether they're going to heaven or hell. I don't know if that comes from poor teaching or you just still that much still a baby. But it's a sad thing. You come to church day in and day out. Sometimes you have your little sabbatical, but you make it back one time. You make it back. You love the Lord. You try to give according to your heart. And still left uncertain of where I'm going when I leave here. Where is the comfort and assurance in that? But I come to tell you, you can be certain of whether or not you're saved. Paul says, examine yourself, whether you be in the faith or not. Beloved, indwelling sin will cause you to be miserable. I'm talking to God's people. Indwelling sin will make you miserable. It causes misery. You wonder why? Because it's in the nature of the Spirit of God to hate sin. It's in the nature of the Spirit of God to hate sin, to loathe it. If you don't have an issue with wallowing in the mud, you need to examine yourself. Because the Spirit of God don't like when he got dirt on you. Self-examination is necessary. And the thing is when you have the Spirit of God, you cannot be comfortable in the mud. I'm almost done, y'all. The thing is we can examine doctrine. We can examine theology. We examine how we do worship from denomination to denomination. And who's teaching this over there, what they accept over there, and what's okay over here, and they don't go for that over there. We examine all of these different things in the diversity of the Christian umbrella. But who is examining the heart? All that is good and it holds its proper place. But I got news for you. More destruction is caused by error of the heart than by error of the head. Are y'all with me? It's a heart matter. It's a heart matter. The thing is, my theology can be a little sketchy. But if my heart is right, that'll help me get past the messed up theology. It's not that big of a deal on how we're doing worship. If I'm loving my neighbor as myself. So, it's a heart situation. Yeah, you pray nice. You pray so wonderful and beautiful.
Come on.
You pray so nicely, but was that prayer out of yourself? Or was it out of your heart? You sing so nice and you sound so good. But was your singing entertainment? Or was it to the glory of God? Preacher, you preach so well, you talk and speak so eloquently. You're so philosophical.
Oh, yeah. Come on now.
But was he pouring out of his soul? Or was he just giving you a nice parrot lesson? It's a heart matter. It's a heart matter. If the heart is right, the head will catch up. The head will catch up. But it starts in the heart. It starts in the heart. Beloved, examine yourself. One this morning may feel that this is unnecessary. One may feel this is unnecessary, because I hear you murmuring under your breath. I ain't never doubted. I ain't never doubted that I was saved. I've known since the Lord saved me that I was saved. But you're doing all that murmuring and you're saying those things, forgetting that your certainty is nothing but a result of trial.
Yes.
Help me, Holy
Yes.
Spirit.
Yes.
The only reason you're so certain that you're saved is because you've been through something. And God has proven himself. Over and over again. We forget that, you know, I'm only certain that I'm a child of God because every time I tried the Lord, he's never failed. The only reason I'm certain is because every time the Lord has tried me, he's held true to his promises. That's why I'm certain. I'm certain that I'm saved because every time I called on him,
Come on. Come on.
he's come to see about me. I'm certain that I'm saved because when I've suffered loss in my life, he kept me in perfect peace. I'm certain that I'm saved because when the things of this life that I thought brought me joy, when they passed away, the Lord fulfilled my joy. I know that I'm saved because of my trials. Sitting up there, don't you take for granted. You ain't around. Every now and then you think some stuff and make you be like, whoa, wait a minute. That is not of God. That is not of God. Tell somebody, loosen your halo up just a little bit. Loosen it up a little bit. But don't think that you are not in need of self-examination. Because the thing is, when you examine yourself in the light of God, he uncovers where you lack. He uncovers where you lack. I don't know about y'all, but light always reveals dirt. You will think your house is clean. Under your regular light. But y'all know how y'all seen some of the police shows, they coming out with that other light. And dirt just seems to pop up everywhere. That the naked eye just can't see. Light reveals what the dirt is. And ain't nobody talking about for you to examine. Don't measure yourself up to the preacher. Don't measure yourself up to the deacon or to the teacher or even your own mama because they just as dirty as you are. But when you measure up against light, and that light is the life of men, and he's flawless, and he's perfect, and he's holy. When you get next to that light, it make you want to. Somebody's going to see me. Sit up and measure yourself up against no man. Because who they are. The Pope himself is a low-down dog. So what you think? No man is worthy to be deemed holy. You measure yourself against God. And in the light of God, he reveals your dirt. Don't never think you don't need self-examination. The thing is, you ought to want to know where you don't measure up. You ought to want to know that. If you're a servant of God, you ought to want to know where you lack in your life. Some of you all need to change your prayer. You need to quit asking all the time on what you want. And tell the Lord to remove some stuff. You need to start asking God to take some taste out your mouth. You need to start asking God to remove some people out your life. You need to start asking God to change the way you think, to change the way you handle that person at work, to change how you handle some certain situations when they arise in your life. Quit asking God all the time for what you want and say, God, I just need you to give me what I need. God needs to take some stuff away from you. Say, Lord, clean me up. Lord, show me. Show me, oh God, where in my life you are not pleased with me. Show me, oh God, where I keep getting it wrong. Don't allow me to feel comfortable in it no more. Don't allow me to just sit at peace in it no more. But make me uneasy in some stuff. If you're living a life to please God, you want the process. Because the process is going to ultimately bring you joy. Joy unspeakable. Joy that man can't even comprehend, because you can't comprehend it outside of Christ. You ought to want to know. Beloved, we need self-examination in the church. We need that. In a time and age of shams, sham preaching and sham teaching, sham hearing and sham professing, liars all in Lord's house. From the pulpit to the back. Faking the funk, just phony. Phony. I tell you today, examine yourself. You call yourself a child of the King? Don't look at me. Don't point the fingers at other folk. Sweep around your own front door. Get the beam at your own eye. Look at yourself. And ask yourself, do I resemble the God that I serve? Do I resemble the God that I serve? I know religion done messed you up. Some of y'all need to start coming to my Bible study. Because, religion done messed up your thinking. It done messed you up. See, you think living the life of Christ is wrong. You think it's the 10 Commandments. You think it's the law. I know that's what you think, because that's what we told you. But living a life of Christ is just being like Christ. And it ain't about right and wrong. It's about love. It's about love. You think about it. If every decision you make in life came from a foundation of love, you'll please God more. You'll please God more. It ain't about right and wrong. It ain't about good and bad. It's a lie. That's what I said. It's a lie. This journey is not about a system of right and wrong. Christ is not a system. Christ is a lifestyle. This journey is life. I'm not governed by the law. I'm governed by the Holy Spirit. Whatever the Spirit tells me to do in that moment, that's what I'm going to do. Whatever the Spirit tells me to say in that moment, that's what I'm going to say. The Spirit of God told Samuel, tell him what you need to tell him to get what I need to get done. You ain't got to tell them the whole truth. You ain't got to tell them why you're there. Tell them what they need to know. Ain't about right and wrong, and I ain't saying God told him a lie. But what I am saying is whatever is necessary in the moment, according to the purpose of God, that's what's right. That is what's right. It's not a system. But in this age, lest we be hypocrites, we need to examine ourselves. Y'all have heard me say before, we sitting up and we telling folks to live up to a standard that we so-called Christians can't even uphold. Sit yourself there. Sit yourself there. Examine yourself. Lord, show me where I lack. So to what point is this search? To what point is this search? Paul says, whether you be or not in the faith. Whether you be or not in the faith. That is the evidence. Do you have faith?
Yes, Lord.
I ain't talking about what you conjured up. I ain't talking about what Big Mama told you. Or what you think is traditional for black people. I'm talking about the faith that is God-given. Because faith is a gift. Lest any man should boast. God is the author and finisher of our faith. Do you not know that Christ is in you? Look at yourself. Paul is saying, how you don't know if God is living in you? Wait a minute. I read about God. I read Bible all the time. Okay, you read about him, read on. But is he in you? I sing about him. I go to choir rehearsal every week. Keep singing. But is he in you?
Help him, God. Help him.
I know a lot about him. I know. Jesus. He's the Son of God. He was born of the Virgin Mary, and Joseph was his earthly father. And he said he died on the cross and rose on the third day. I know a whole lot about it. Okay, yes. Is he in you? All right. I don't care what you know.
Come on. Come on.
You can say a whole lot of stuff. Satan knows who Jesus is. Did he not come possessed and the demon said, what are you doing here? Leave me alone. Because he recognized who he was. Care what you know? Is he in you? Because if he's in you, there'll be some sign. For to know God is to love Christ. You can't know God without loving Christ. To know God is to love God. To love God is to know God. And you can't know God outside of knowing Christ. He is God. He's the full embodiment of the Godhead. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. You cannot claim to have a relationship with God outside of Christ. The devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. How do you love God? Do you love Christ? Do you love his Son? And I'll know if you love his Son because you will love me. I'll know if you love his Son because you will love your neighbor. I'll know if you love his Son because you will pray for those who curse you. We know that we have translated from death to life because we love the brethren.
Yes, sir.
Do you love your neighbor? Do you love God? Do you hate sin? Because I can tell you this right now. You're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself if you think that this walk does not require holiness.
Yes,
You're fooling yourself. And again, I'm not talking about right and wrong. That's not what I'm talking about. You follow the Lord, right will just happen. Right just happens. But the reason why I'm saying holiness is a requirement, you will get to the point where you hate your sins. If you don't hate your sins, there's no Lord, no God in you. Because he said himself in Ephesians 1:4 that you were called before the foundation of the world unto holiness. Be ye holy, for I am holy. You've got to hate sin. I ain't say condemn people. Nah, you ain't condemning. Don't be going around condemning folk to hell. Because then you condemn yourself. But you got to hate sin in your own life. If you ain't sure if you're sinning in what you're doing, ask God. You might be uncertain. It's okay. Everybody don't know what God says. Everybody don't know what God says. And everybody don't understand what God has said. If you're uncertain, ask him. You his child, he'll show you. Trust me. He'll show you. You know how? He'll make you have to deal with that person again. He'll make you have to deal with that situation again. You're like, all right, I'll bring it right back around. You didn't get it the first time. I'm coming back. I'm coming right back around. I'll be back. Wait a minute. God will show you. God will show you. And all of this is from faith. By the grace of God. By the grace of God. Do you believe God at his word? Do you believe God at his word? Faith is just believing that he who has promised will do just what he said. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You can't hope for what you don't know he's promised. That's why you struggle, because you don't know what he done promised you. You don't know what he said he'll do for you in that moment. You don't know what he said he'll do for you when you lost your job, when your friends leave you, when people talk about you, when you're down on your luck, when you're at the bottom of the barrel, when you're struggling in your own tastes and vices and in your own addictions, and you can't just help yourself. You don't know what God said he will do for you, and that's why you struggle in trusting that he will do something. Because you don't know. But I dare you to try. I dare you. I dare you to try it and see if God is not true to your word, to his word. If you don't know, this is what Paul left him with. After you examine yourself, if you still don't know if you see Christ, he says you failed the test.
Yes. Yes.
He says you failed the test. He said if you don't see him, it's because you still in a reprobate mind. I'm through.
Come on.
Come on, brother.
Amen.
He said it's because you still in a reprobate mind.
Come on. Yeah.
Beloved, you ought to know that you're a child of the King.
Amen.
Try yourself, whether you be of the faith. Do you really believe that he is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above what you can ask or even imagine?
Yes. Yes, Lord.
Do you believe God is who he says he is? Do you truly believe that? Because we walk through this life like we don't know God. Many of us, for whatever reason, we only act like we know God or that we belong to God when we come to church. It's like you walk in here and it's like Superman coming out the phone booth or something. You're a whole new person. Go back out the door and you're going to change back over at the Clark Kent. Another example yourself. Whether you be in the faith, trust the Lord. Lean not into thine own understanding, but acknowledge him